Hi folks, welcome to today's color process video. Today's comic was a fun one for me to do because it's one of those examples of a comic where I do something that kind of critiques my own style and implies that I am lazy in how I go about my work, yet I spent 2.5 hours coloring the thing. I mean, a lot of that time was spent on well, not a lot of that time, but a good chunk of that time was spent on the last panel alone, like rendering that background and making sure it looked nice and almost 3D. And I feel that adds a certain element of humor, or kind of, I hate to use the word, but kind of ironic humor to the comic, considering the message it's getting across, yet the artwork kind of goes against that. I mean, the for example, the last panel, what does it end on? It says, yeah, because who's got the time to draw? And then you've got this like panel that's full of detail, not just in the line work but in the color as well. And personally, I get a bit of a laugh from that. And I have to say I really enjoyed coloring this. It's one of those comics where it took me a while find the to find the color scheme I wanted to go with for the various elements. I had a lot of difficulty choosing, like, this is such a minor element, but just the sky in the last panel and the little scene we see in the thought bubble in the second panel. The sky in both bits, panels, whatever. I had a lot of trouble figuring out what to go with there, because at first I thought going with a red pinkish kind of sky was maybe too on the nose, too apocalyptic looking, say. But in the end, it was the color that just felt right to me. So I decided to stick with it. And then we have the third panel, which, yeah, it, like, I mean, I knew going in straight away that that panel had to have an almost kind of hand painted look to it, because I very much wanted that to have the same kind of feeling that you'd get. I've mentioned this in other comics, but the same feeling you'd get when you watch like an old Looney Tunes cartoon, or say SpongeBob SquarePants, where they do this thing where everything looks simple and cell shaded, like the characters, only for there to be this like really hyper detailed reaction shot, where it's very obviously hand painted with, or in the case of SpongeBob, digitally painted, with like some animated elements put on top of that. And it's something I've always been a sucker for. There's just something off about it, like very pleasantly off, and I like using that in my own comics. So that third panel is very much my attempt at that. The second panel was, yeah, it's that was the panel that kind of caused me some trouble with regards figuring out the colors. But again, it's one of those cases where everything just fell into place. Like, speaking of something that fell into place, the captions, that green color I went with, that was just me messing around with the hue sliders until I just happened upon a color I liked. And I was intending on them being kind of a yellow color, but I felt that that would not contrast very well against the background in the last panel. So yeah, just that green just seemed to pop out to me, and it also, in a way, has this slightly off kind of quality to it, which I feel um, really suits the tone this comic is going for. Like where I just went all out weird with the artwork, and yeah, yeah, this is one of those examples where um, it very much felt like a puzzle that I had to solve, and I love working on pages like that. Um, it tends to be that the pages that take me a long time to do in terms of the coloring tend to be the ones I enjoy. They scratch that part of my mind, or um, they tickle that part of my mind that enjoys solving puzzles. And I mean, I've mentioned it before, but the process of both making a comic and coloring a comic, it is in a way, um, or it's akin to puzzle solving. And yeah. So thank you very much for watching, and I will talk to you at the next video. Take care.